Hello everyone, Shadow here, and well, I got back from Justice League yesterday and I was going to record, but by the time I got in it was late and to be honest, I want to go to fucking bed, so I didn't. But I wanted to do a film review type of chit chat after Wonder Woman, but unfortunately I didn't get the opportunity to, and now it's long since passed. But when I got home, I had a look on Rotten Tomato and a few other reviewer websites, shall we say, and they seem to be slamming Justice League, which I think is shit, because this was a fucking brilliant film. Really enjoyable. Good little dashes of comedy to break up the tension. I thought everyone played their role really well. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, still absolutely brilliant. Steals the show. I mean, when I first heard that she was going to be in it, I was always of the opinion maybe they should have got maybe like a UHC type of UHC. That's Minecraft, you fucking idiot. MMA fighter, like someone like that. Bit a female, but more of a stockier build. Because Gal Gadot, as amazing as she is, she's still, pretty slim, pretty petite lady. And I was always the impression that, the Amazons were more MMA sort of build to them. But she's done absolutely brilliantly, and she really has taken on the role of Wonder Woman amazingly well. Ben Affleck again. When I was watching Batman versus Superman, I was nervous of Ben Affleck because I remember Daredevil. Yes. And I've not thought Ben Affleck was a great actor for a long time, but he has done fucking blinding well as Batman. He has done very, very well. He sells in this film a lot more. I think he sells Bruce Wayne's um, disconnect from the world, being Batman and being Bruce Wayne, and the fact that obviously his life as Bruce Wayne is a facade. It's a shell. It's not really who he is. Batman almost is who he is, and Bruce Wayne is just his identity almost. It's almost the reverse of what you would expect. Someone has a secret identity of that, but he's Batman. But it feels almost like Batman's who he is, and Bruce Wayne's his alter ego type of thing. It does really well. Jeremy Irons is as Alfred is good. I mean, I've always thought Jeremy Irons was a good actor. I mean, he's done some not great roles, Dungeons and Dragons, but he did really well, and he was a bit of dry comedy and a bit of dry wit, and does very good, I think, again as Alfred. Hopefully, obviously, all these people will continue their roles. Cyborg, I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but this was his big first film role, I believe, because he was a Broadway actor, I believe, before now, and he does very, very well as Victor Stone, Cyborg. He does very, very well. He's a bit of comedy in him, but he projects the emotions of a man that's had this gift, as he calls it in the film, given to him, but it's a reluctant gift, not a gift he asked for, not a gift he even wanted, and even more so that it was a gift imposed upon him by his own father. Which is not a spoiler because you see it in Batman vs Superman, so don't give me any of that shit. Go fuck yourself. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's very reluctant to join the fight, but he does very well as the character Cyborg, and another good pick. I think between Marvel and DC, some of these picks that we've seen of characters over in the last sort of 5-10 years, it's been like, sure about it, Heath Ledger. I was very reluctant when I heard Heath Ledger was going to be the Joker, but fuck me, amazing that he did. I mean, yeah, there was a Suicide Squad, and a couple of them weren't the best picks in the world. I mean, for me, Suicide Squad was Will Smith and the other people. Because, Deadshot was supposed to wear that mask. He wears it for about 10 seconds. It's like, oh, fuck off. Obviously, in his contract to have his face in the film for at least 80% of it, but still. Um, Flash. Again, can't remember the actual geezer's name, but he's very good. I think he embraces the sort of the comedic side of Flash, and it was good how he was sort of not like Cyborg in the Reluctant Hero, but he was very unsure of himself. It was sort of like the newbie, where Cyborg was reluctant to want to do anything because he was unsure about how much of the control he had over himself and how much of the machine he was now. Flash was much more of a I've not really been in a fight before, whereas obviously Batman, Wonder Woman, they've all, battle hardened. So, it was very good watching him be sort of like this character that started out very sort of nervous and almost tripping over himself. And like I say, he brought the comedy of the Flash, definitely, like the sarcastic and sort of quick wit and slightly dopey nature of the Flash, like he was in the cartoons and from the very few comics I've read of him, how he seems to come across. I personally, and I know there's quite a few people out there, but I personally would have liked to have seen the TV Flash as the Flash here, because he's done very, very well. I mean, I'm not caught every episode up to now, so I don't know if he's gotten worse, but the first 2.5 seasons of the Flash TV series I've watched, he's done really, really well. And I should be very disappointed if they use the guy that plays Green Arrow in Arrow in later films, but don't bring the Flash one in, because I think the TV Flash is a better Flash, but I think the guy in this Justice League film definitely had the more comedic side of it down, whereas I think the Flash in TV series has been a bit more serious. I don't know, like I say, if he started to embrace the comedic side a bit more, but to me, he seems a lot more sort of comical. It definitely brings a comedy to it. And Aquaman, oh, brilliant, absolutely superb. He was absolutely amazing. Fuck it, he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. For me, he was. The only thing I didn't like was the eyes. Now, whether I missed it whilst the film was on, I never understood the eyes, because he's got almost like completely blue eyes, except obviously for his pupils. Like his whole rest of his eyes are like these very pale blue, almost white. And the rest of the Atlanteans, when you see them, they look just like normal people, like normal colour eyes from what I could see. And I was looking quite hard to see if there was any other Atlanteans that had the same thing. So I don't know if it's something they'll explain later, or they'll just glance over it and it will just be a quirk. Fuck knows. I mean, I'd be interested to see if it's just a case of because whether they're going to embrace the whole he's half human, half Atlantean. So maybe that's the reason why he has the eyes like that. Like it's I don't want to say a defect, but intergenetic mingling that caused it, type of thing. I don't know, but I'd be interested to see. But yeah, he's very, very cool, very funny, very dry wit, and he's another good character that I think they did really, really well with. A lot of cast return, which is nice. A bit of continuity, which is obviously helps build universes. So that was really good. Steppenwolf, I think, was a good villain, and I did like the name drops that they did for later franchise or later films. I'm assuming some of the villains are going to come along that they sort of hinted at and name dropped during the course of the film. But again, unlike Batman vs Superman, which I felt was them trying to play catch up, sort of like it felt like it was Batman vs Superman whilst we try and set up the Justice League films. I think now that they're settled after Wonder Woman and realised that if they just make a film about the character or the characters that are in the fucking title of the film, you can make a really enjoyable film. And that's what I think they've done. I think they've got to sit back, look at what Marvel have done and go, okay, so, we can make a film along that kind of lines where we've got a superheroes, name drop, hint, drop a little few like Easter eggy type of things into the film, but we don't have to power through 80-90% of our fucking comic history in a film to then get to this and then be like, thank fuck we made it. I mean, it's a mess behind us, but we got here and here's our one good film at the end of it all. I think after Batman vs Superman, I think they realised that after they burnt through Flashpoint storyline, which is an amazing storyline, which I'm hoping that is going to be introduced later on, and if I've got it right, it was mentioned during the Justice League film. I'm sure they hinted at it. They burnt through obviously the death of Superman Doomsday, which is a shame, and then they burnt through Death in the Family, or is it Death in the Family or Death? No, it's Death in the Family because Death of the Family is a later one. They burnt through Death in the Family, which is another really good storyline they could have done. And they burnt through Batman vs Superman, which is again another really good storyline. So they took 4 really good film storylines in one film and sort of went, well, we can take the start of that one, the middle of that one, the later half of that one, and the resolution of that one, and jam it together. Oh, and we've got to have Wonder Woman in there as well, because we have to have Wonder Woman in there. It was like, oh, don't do that, don't do that. Because like I say, when you just make a film with Wonder Woman in it, Steve Trevor, really good, cool. Bush, amazing film, one of my favourite comic book films so far. This is just overtaking it, and I think the way they did the realms has been really good as well. I mean, Atlantis looked really cool, sort of really aquatic, but they didn't dwell on it. They weren't like, here's Atlantis, here's the backstory, here's how they come here. They didn't sort of become an exposition machine. They didn't have to go through all of it. And obviously Themyscira was in Wonder Woman, so they didn't have to do anything with that. So the film to me didn't come to a raging halt while they were like, oh, so Atlantis is like this because blah 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 blah, and they did none of that expositional shit really. They did the story of Steppenwolf and why he came to Earth and that, which was done really well. And I think that the whole of that was good. It wasn't just talking; it was a really interesting thing taking place in the background. So that was cool. So then, like I say, Steppenwolf for me was really, really good. I think he done well. I think he was done justice. Although for me, he was a bit too CGI, but I'm gonna let that go because he's not human. So I'm quite willing for it to be a little bit sort of. He almost had almost plasticky-esque skin. It was that skin that shines all the time, like it was wet a bit too often. Like they constantly run up with a bucket and threw it at him off shot. But he did really well. The parademons look amazing. They look exactly like I hoped they would. They look like demonic fly-looking. Oh, they look horribly cool. It's the only words I can say. I mean, the Batmobile and all the gadgets and gizmos that Batman uses and the way he moves was done really well. I mean, I'm assuming the cape was CGI'd the shit out of, because there's no way they would have got it to move like that without having about 30 strings on it to pull it around. So that was cool. Like I say, the trident is really good, and like I say, how Aquaman uses the trident is really cool. The Flash is sort of electric. How he moves is like comic books. I would have preferred it if the lightning had been yellow, though. Could we not have had yellow static lightning on the Flash, please? Next time, yellow, just a little yellow, please. Wonder Woman again, with her bands and her sword and her shield. I don't know if the sword is going to play a bit more of an important part later down the line, because it's not the God Killer sword, because obviously that got destroyed at the end of Wonder Woman. But this sword seems a bit more important, shall we say. It doesn't seem like a generic sword. It seems very ornate and very important. So I don't know if they're going to allude to that at some point. Because obviously she's got the shield that was made from the shield of Zeus, if I remember right, or her bracelets are made from the shield of Zeus, which is the Aegis shield, I believe, or Aegis shield was his shield. And obviously she's got the lasso of truth, which was from Hestia. So whether her sword has got an important background, I don't know. I hope it does, because that would be interesting. But we got to see some of obviously more minor characters in the franchise, so that was cool. Got to see some side characters, and it was nice at the end. They sort of set up the day-to-day sort of lives of a lot of the characters, so that was cool. How at the end, like the Flash ends up getting a job in a forensics lab in Central City and that kind of thing, so that was good, and I enjoyed that. How they sort of, again, like I say, they didn't sort of want an exposition dump, and they didn't turn around and go, right, we've got to set up an entire universe in this film. The 2 end scenes were very well done, short, sweet, to the point. The last one made me giggle. It was cool when when the guy is speeding along on the boat, because all you see is a silhouette and a little sort of flicker of a bandana looking thing and two swords sticking out. So I was like, oh yes, cool. I can't wait to see him, because he will be cool. Because I automatically assumed they were going to go straight into some of the other sort of new gods in DC. If you don't know, I'm trying very hard not to spoil anything, because I thought, oh, they're immediately going to go straight into one of the other new gods, or they'll go for the big, the big head honcho. But yeah, really enjoyable film. Definitely recommend it. I'll probably go and see it again in the cinema in the next week or so, because I have every fucking intention of doing it, because it was amazingly cool. I can go into more spoilery stuff and talk about some of the characters and some of the other bits and pieces if you want to have a bit more of a spoilered film, if you want to understand more of what goes on, because I know some people are going to go into it going, okay, but who's that and who's this, and are they important, do we care about them, or what's that mean, or who's that there, or why are they that there. So I'm quite happy to do a more spoilery one if people give it a thumbs up and let me know, because I'm quite happy to ruin bits, because I know a fair bit about DC Comics because I'm a nerd of the highest caliber. And I really want to shag Gal Gadot, to be honest. Maybe I don't know. Sorry, I'm just looking at thinking, God, those legs could crush you. Yeah. Also, I'm going to put one little tiny spoiler in, but it's not really a spoiler, I say, because it doesn't ruin the plot. But during the backstory of that Wonder Woman tells Batman about Steppenwolf, there's a Green Lantern. Yes! There's Green Lanterns! And I know it's hinted at, obviously, at the start where, Marvel have got their big sort of Marvel thing and all the panels show up and all the film clips and all that. And DC have now got one where it's sort of a bit more arty and it's just sort of silhouette characters and symbols and that. So I know it's at the very start, it has the Green Lanterns sort of in the DC icon thing at the start of the film, but they're actually in the film. Very brief, and it doesn't confirm whether there's going to be any sort of big introduction of them in the next film or two that they're going to make, but they're in there, which means they're in the universe, so hopefully we'll finally get a goddamn good Green Lantern film. As much as I love Ryan Reynolds, he has to stay as Deadpool, because he was born to play Deadpool, really. But Green Lantern, please make me Green Lantern films, and please make several of them that are so good. Mark Strong has to come back as Sinestro, because he was the only redeeming character in that Green Lantern film was him, Mark Strong, as, I'm sure it was Mark Strong, I'm 99% like that was Mark Strong, was Sinestro, or whoever the guy was. If I'm wrong, whoever plays Sinestro, you need to play Sinestro again, because it was fucking amazing. And I would really love, personally, Nathan Fillion to be Green Lantern, which I'm assuming they're going to do Hal Jordan, because they're not likely to do Carl Rayner, they're not likely to do John Stewart. So, it's going to be Hal Jordan, it's going to have to be. And I'd love Nathan Fillion, but I know compared to the rest of these guys, apart from probably the Flash, he needs to be a stocky guy, because Batman's obviously quite hench. Aquaman's quite hench. Cyborg looks really big as well, in a big fucking metallic body. So the smaller ones are Gal Gadot, but I mean, fucking, she just smacks everyone about like they're, empty crisp packet. The only other smaller one is the Flash, but he was never meant to be big. He was meant to be fast and agile and nippy, and that was the whole point. But I don't imagine it will be Nathan Fillion, which is a shame, because I would love it, because he is the right person to play it. He's just not got the right physique. Now I reckon if he got buffed up a bit, not ridiculous like Batman and them lot, but I reckon if he got put on a bit of tonnage, I reckon he could do. He would be amazing as Green Lantern, because he's got the wit and the sarcasm and the mannerisms to play a very good Hal Jordan. Guy Gardner, that's the other one. I was thinking, sure there's four. Guy Gardner is the other one. No, it was Carl Rayner. Yeah, Guy Gardner, John Stewart, and Hal Jordan. Yeah. So yes, so he has to come back as Sinestro. I would like Nathan Fillion to play Hal Jordan, because that's who it's going to be. So yes, Go and see this film. Don't listen to critics who go it's something like 40 fucking percent. Twats. I think it's just one of these things where it's like it's the in thing to fucking just diss Marvel films. So I think critics or reviewers, I shouldn't call them critics because critics online on YouTube still seem to have an ounce of fucking backbone. But reviewers obviously get told how to write a review these days. They're not genuine ones. If they work for a company like Megacorp, they're all fucking spineless yes men. I mean, you know, there's been instances over the years where critics have been fucking panned from companies because they don't do what they're told, which is bollocks. But yeah, so definitely go and see this film. You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it a bit more, obviously, if you're a nerd, because you'll notice a few more Easter eggy stuff if you're into the DC universe. But if you're not, I met with a few people, really enjoyed it. One of which was a woman, and she enjoyed it. She said it was really good, but she quite likes Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, so maybe she was biased. I don't know. But they all did very well. Film was really good paced, really well played out. Nothing felt false, nothing felt contrived. The music was well done, the visuals were well done. Like I say, the only thing visual wise was Steppenwolf didn't look the best, but I'm going to let that go because all the characters look really well. The returning characters played their roles perfectly. Superb stuff. And like I say, stay for the end credit stuff because there's two. There's one mid-roll and one at the very end. So now you know, you don't have to Google it. So anyway, this has been my first review. Hopefully, if it gets a few views and a few likes, I'll do a more spoiler one if you want it. And if not, maybe I'll do another review a bit later on. But like I say, my first impressions and my first review. So hopefully you enjoyed yourself. Hopefully you had a laugh, and hopefully you're just shaking your head and going, "Oh, just shut up, you fucking twat." So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shut the fuck up because I'm a twat. So see you all guys later on. See ya.